Some distances start while sitting close. You stopped first. I noticed later. There was a moment I never told you about. Not because it was important. Not because it changed anything. Just because it was so small that it felt embarrassing to mention. We were talking about something ordinary. I don't even remember what. Maybe what to eat that night. Maybe a video you had sent me. Maybe nothing worth remembering. The kind of conversation people have when they have already become part of each other's routine. Words moving easily. No effort. No thinking. Just comfort. Then you looked at me. Not in a dramatic way. Not like in movies. You just looked at me a little longer than usual. A few seconds. Maybe less. And somehow every sentence I had prepared disappeared. I remember laughing awkwardly and looking away. You asked why I suddenly got quiet. I said, nothing. But it wasn't nothing. The strange thing about love is that sometimes silence doesn't come from having nothing to say. Sometimes it comes from feeling too much at once. I think that was what happened. Because when someone matters enough, there are moments when you suddenly become aware of them all over again. Not as the person you've been texting every day. Not as the person who knows your coffee order. Not as the person whose name lives at the top of your notifications. But as someone you could actually lose. And that realization always arrives quietly. Usually in the middle of something completely ordinary. While waiting at a red light. While sharing fries. While standing in line at a convenience store. While watching them check their phone and smile at something that has nothing to do with you. Love isn't always loud when it hurts. Sometimes it hurts because of how normal everything looks. I think that's why some silences feel heavier than arguments. Arguments at least have words. Silence leaves you alone with your thoughts. And thoughts are rarely kind. I remember another evening. You were sitting next to me scrolling through your phone. I was telling a story. Halfway through, I realized you weren't really listening anymore. Not intentionally. You were tired. Maybe work had been difficult. Maybe your mind was somewhere else. You still nodded occasionally. You still said yeah. You were still there. But not completely. And for some reason, that tiny difference hurt more than I expected. I finished the story anyway. You smiled. I smiled too. Neither of us mentioned it. Because what was there to say? You hadn't done anything wrong. People get tired. People get distracted. People have bad days. I knew all of that. Still, there was a small feeling sitting quietly inside me. The feeling of becoming background noise for someone who once noticed every word. It's hard to explain that feeling without sounding unfair. Because nobody can give you their full attention forever. Nobody should have to. But sometimes you miss the version of love that used to lean in closer. The version that asked one more question. The version that noticed when your mood changed before you said anything. The version that remembered details you forgot you mentioned. And when that changes, even naturally, even understandably, there is a brief moment of grief. Not for what is gone. Just for what used to be. I think many relationships spend years carrying these tiny unspoken sadnesses. Not betrayals. Not heartbreaks. Just little moments that never become conversations. One person waiting a few extra minutes for a reply and pretending it doesn't matter. One person rereading old messages while the other has already fallen asleep. One person noticing they are always the one saying goodnight first. One person staring at the typing bubble that appears and disappears and appears again. Such small things. Ridiculously small. Yet somehow they stay. Because love is often measured in details nobody else would notice. Like knowing exactly how long someone usually takes to answer. Like recognizing the difference between I'm busy and I don't have the energy. Like hearing I'm fine and understanding which version of fine it is. The older I get, the more I realize that relationships rarely break because of one big moment. More often, people become tired from carrying hundreds of tiny moments they never found words for. The accumulated weight of being slightly less chosen. Slightly less noticed. Slightly less important than before. Not enough to complain. Not enough to leave. Just enough to ache. And maybe that's why that memory stays with me. That moment when you looked at me for a few extra seconds and I suddenly forgot how to speak. Because beneath all the difficult parts, beneath all the misunderstandings and quiet disappointments, there was still that feeling. The feeling that your attention mattered more than I wanted to admit. The feeling that even after all this time, being seen by you could still make me nervous. Maybe love isn't the absence of silence. Maybe it's learning how much can exist inside one. The affection. The fear. The waiting. The exhaustion. The effort to understand each other even when neither person has the right words. Some days we were good at it. Some days we weren't. Some days we answered quickly. Some days we forgot. Some days we felt close. Some days we sat side by side and somehow felt far away. But I think the saddest moments were never the loud ones. They were the ordinary evenings. The ones where nothing happened. The ones where we looked completely fine from the outside. The ones where I almost told you something important, then decided it could wait until tomorrow. The ones where tomorrow came and I forgot. Or maybe just stopped trying. And somewhere between all those ordinary days, I learned that missing someone doesn't always begin after they leave. Sometimes it begins while they're still sitting right beside you. Still close enough to touch. Just not close enough to reach.